The heat is on in some parts of San Diego County as a dangerous heat wave peaked, bringing record-breaking temperatures to parts of the West. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Kirsten Holmes, in for Marcella Lee.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. CBS 8's Brian White took to our desert areas and found the people who live there aren't really fazed by the hot temperatures, but he also talked with scientists about why it's so hot so early and how soon we could expect a cool down.
Well, the concept of a heat dome is simple and elementary to those who know about weather, like our own meteorology team at CBS 8. But to a lot of us out there, we're wondering, what is a heat dome?
This is the first time we've seen it so far this year, so it's more or less our first heat wave.
Scorching temperatures in our deserts on day 2 of this heat wave, with places like Ocotillo Wells and Borrego Springs well over 100 degrees.
Across pretty much all of the Southwest, we have this high pressure area, and that's what's bringing our heat.
Lead meteorologist Stephanie Sullivan with the National Weather Service San Diego says a heat dome is loose terminology for what they call an upper ridge of high pressure. She explains how something like this creates these triple-digit temps.
Where you have the high pressure, you tend to have sinking air, and as the air sinks, it compresses and warms up, so we get really warm air at the surface. And with the sinking motion, it tends to suppress any cloud cover. So high pressure usually results in mostly sunny skies, a lot warmer weather.
This heat dome spans across several states, with parts of California, Nevada, and Arizona under an excessive heat warning. This is video from Phoenix, where temperatures climbed over 110 today, with hiking trails closed due to the hot weather.
Stay indoors if you can with air conditioning. If you have to be outdoors, try to save it for early in the morning or in the evening when it's a little bit cooler outside.
I asked Stephanie why there's such a stark contrast right now between our deserts and the beaches with these temperatures.
Our ocean temperatures are still pretty cold, so when we have the air blowing off that, it kind of acts as a natural air conditioner, and the cloud cover prevents it from warming up so much too.
She explains how west of the I-15 temperatures are nice and cool comparatively, but once you head east and into the mountains, it's not the case anymore.
Once you start to get inland and especially higher elevations, you tend to get above the marine layer into warmer and drier air, so that air conditioning effect kind of shuts off.
The excessive heat warning for our deserts is in effect until Friday evening. I'm Brian White for CBS 8.
Well, June gloom was in full effect along the coastline, but as we just saw, it wasn't like that all over.
Our chief meteorologist, Carlene Chavis, joins us now with your microclimate forecast. Carlene.
Yeah, you are talking about some much cooler temperatures, and that is the case closer towards the coast. As mentioned, you have that cool air effect, that air conditioning effect, because the water temperature right now is 62 degrees. So when you have westerly winds that pick up with that sea breeze, that's what makes that difference. That's also what we saw the marine layer for today. You have the 60s right along the coast. You also have 70s right now across inland areas, 77 degrees right now for Ramona, 72 for Hamul. There's the 70s and 80s across the mountains, and 108 for Borrego Springs. Quite a difference the mountains are making, because west of the mountains, closer towards the coast, you had a high today of 68 degrees for downtown. That is actually near seasonal. And then you also had that forecast high of 109 for Borrego Springs. Not talking about a record, but it is warmer than usual. We'll go ahead and take a look at your complete forecast coming up. Carlo, Kirsten.
Seeing a few. Thanks, Carlene. What was supposed to be a news conference about funding to fight San Diego's homelessness crisis turned into a political showdown today.
Yeah, Mayor Todd Gloria was hoping to focus on money set aside in his proposed budget to address the homelessness crisis. But a group of people, including mayoral candidate Larry Turner, heckled the mayor and every speaker who took to the podium. They held signs opposing the Kettner and Vine mega shelter that the mayor wants to open. They're also against using H Barracks as a safe sleeping parking lot.
My budget proposal enables us to tackle this acute crisis on our streets today and making an investment in an ongoing management of homelessness.
The mayor also says the city needs more beds and that he believes if there is city property that we can use, then we should use it. The man who shot and killed a homeless woman in Serra Mesa with a pellet gun last year will spend the next 5 years in prison.
19-year-old William Innes was sentenced in court today. He pleaded guilty to manslaughter and gun charges last month. Prosecutors say he and another man drove to a homeless encampment and fired several pellets out of their car, striking Annette Pershall. She died in a hospital several days after the shooting.
Right now, a South Bay pastor is facing charges accused of failing to report known or suspected child abuse. Eric Manuel Marino is the pastor at Victory Outreach Church in San Ysidro. His charges are connected to the sexual abuse of a teenager at the hands of the church choir leader, Rafael Valentin Magana. Magana was convicted in April of one felony count of lewd acts upon a 14 or 15-year-old. His sentencing is set for June 18th. Marino, the pastor who failed to report, faces up to 6 months in jail and $1,000 fine if he's convicted. Today marks a 4-year anniversary of La Jolla's Dia Abrams going missing from her ranch near Idlewild. She's presumed dead, though her body has never been found.
CBS 8's David Goffredson talked to Abrams' son, who wants to remind the public there's still a $300,000 reward being offered for information that leads to an arrest in the case.
I haven't even looked through any of this stuff. There could be evidence.
4 years after Dia Abrams went missing from her ranch near Idlewild, her Ford pickup truck is still sitting in the driveway of her son's home on Mount Soledad. Clinton Abrams goes through boxes of accounting paperwork. He knows any evidence could be the key to solving his mother's murder.
I didn't think it would go 4 years without finding my mother.
On this anniversary of Dia Abrams' disappearance, her son wants to remind people there is still a huge reward for information leading to an arrest.
There is a $300,000 cash reward out, separate in a bank, ready to go for anybody to come forward. They will remain completely anonymous.
Riverside Sheriff detectives have identified Keith Harper, Dia's ranch manager and former boyfriend, as a suspect in Dia's murder, though he has denied any involvement. He was the last person to see Dia Abrams alive on her ranch, and 2 weeks before she went missing, the 65-year-old changed her trust, naming Harper as a co-trustee of her estate.
Keith Harper, to me, he's a pathological liar. He's sinister, diabolical, but I've never felt him to be the mastermind.
Clinton believes his mother's murder was a conspiracy.
And I think it needs to be taken up the ladder into the FBI and the DOJ. This is a real plan, a sinister plot.
And he is not alone in his theory.
I think it's more than that one-man crime. I think there are people involved with it.
Julie Stanford was one of about 20 neighbors who did a search for Dia on her 117-acre ranch the day after she went missing on June 6, 2020. She remembers Harper crying while packing up his RV camper, preparing to drive to Arizona for a business appointment.
He stood there kind of by the front of the camper. Oh, I'll never see her again. Oh. And I thought to myself, what the hell? This is 2 days after she's gone. Why in the hell would you say, I'll never see her again?
During our hour-long interview, Clinton Abrams shared for the first time some evidence in the case.
When I first arrived on the scene, the only sign of forced entry was the second floor balcony of the master bedroom. Somebody had gotten on the second floor of the roof and kicked in the door from the outside. And so the wood trim from the door was shattered inside my mother's master bedroom.
In one more year, on the 5-year mark of Dia Abrams going missing, she will be legally declared dead. That's when, under the terms of a probate court settlement, 50% of her estate will go to her 2 adult children and 50% to Keith Harper.
If we don't get answers within 1 year, Keith Harper walks away with millions of dollars.
David Goffredson, CBS 8.
Thanks, David. And once again, Keith Harper has denied any involvement in Dia Abrams' murder. He did not respond to a request for comment.
The Riverside Sheriff's detective in this case declined to release any new information except to say the case remains open and that he is diligently working on that investigation. Today, San Diego Police Chief David Nislight walked out of the department after 36 years of service. Nislight exited the police headquarters lobby doors for one last time today. He served as the city's top officer for more than 6 years. Nislight is turning over command to Chief Scott Wall, who was recently selected to take over the position.
Today marks the 80th anniversary of D-Day. 11,000 aircraft and 7,000 ships helped 160,000 Allied troops land on the beaches of Normandy. More than 4,400 of those troops died. Their sacrifice proved crucial as this invasion turned the tide of World War II and began the liberation of Europe from Axis control. Today, President Joe Biden was in Normandy to lay a wreath at the American cemetery overlooking Omaha Beach, where more than 9,000 U.S. soldiers are buried.
In memory of those who fought here, died here, literally saved the world here. Let us be worthy of their sacrifice.
Earlier, President Biden joined French President Emmanuel Macron to bestow the Legion of Honor Award, France's highest medal, on 11 U.S. World War II veterans. A new study has identified a concerning trend in carbon dioxide levels.
More on what Scripps researchers are saying coming up next.
And have you ever wondered where your recyclables actually end up? We share what one viewer learned after he decided to track his plastic.